Welcome back to Rauscher Racing Weekly. I am Brent Rauscher, and this week we are gonna show my history of how I got into racing. So first, I was born into racing. I grew up in a diaper at the racetrack watching my dad, my cousins, and my uncles race. It looked and it seemed really cool. So my time came at the age of 4. We went to Friendly 95A Speedway. I got in a race car, went down into turn 1, thought it was a drag strip, went off the end of the track. So that was basically my first race, and then my second or third race in, I think I won. It was somewhere in the first 5 races. I don't remember, it was a long time ago. So now we're going to go into how I got my number. How I got my number, I'm sure there's a lot of questions on how I got my number 16. And I got my number because of my birthday. I was born 12/16/09. That's how I got my number. It's not just my favorite number. My grandpa built me a wood car. It's actually still here. And that's the number he chose, and I've just ran that number forever. The only way we've had to change it is if somebody else came in and they were 16 before us. That would be the only reason we'd change it. But besides that was how I got into racing, and that's how I got my number. Here's a word from our sponsors.
Wherever the world may take you, choose Christensen Automotive.
Hey guys, welcome back. When we started traveling after Rattlesnake Speedway up in Fallon, Nevada, after that season was ended in the summer, my mom and my dad came to an agreement that we were going to run a full winter season in the Junior Outlaw Division at Lakeport. And when we went to Lakeport, we had expectations, but we didn't have as high as expectations as what we proved what we had. We went out for points race 1. I was quick time, won the heat race, won the trophy dash, finished second in the main. I clean swept 4 nights, which is quick time, won the heat race, won the dash, and won the main. So I slept like 3 or 4 nights in a row. And then when I was going for 5 straight sweeps, it was quick time, won the heat race, and something broke in the motor. We lost oil out of it, and I finished second because me and the second left the field, and then it fell apart like 3 to go. And then I won the main event. And later on in the season, towards the end, I pounded the wall a couple times, locked the clutch up since it was a ceramic clutch. Like, we didn't have a handle like you see in my 250 and Blake and Evans 500s. We had a ceramic clutch on the side of the motor behind me. And when I hit the wall, it shocked everything and it locked it. So when the quad went to push me to go to the hot pit, it kept locking their tires up, and then it took off. And then later, 2 races later, I went out. All I had to do was go qualify. I could have qualified last, first. It really didn't matter. And I would have locked up this thing right here. And this is my 16-17 Lakeport Championship trophy. We had to work hard for this. It was really fun to go out and race there. No matter how we did. It was just really fun. So now here's another word from our sponsors. See you after the break. Welcome back, guys. Now we're going to get into some of my wildest crashes. And one of them you have seen before. It actually happened in 2020. I got pinched into the wall and flipped 7 times. Then the year before that at Cycleland, we were running this wing, I think. No, we were running kind of the similar paint scheme on it. And we went in 3 wide. I was on the bottom. And if you can see, there's tires at Cycleland. There's tires and discs. And I hit one of the tires, and it launched me over the 2 cars, and I flipped. And one of the first things I asked my dad, are the tires on it, and are they straight? If they're straight, I'm going to keep going. And he said, yeah. And then when I got off the track, it took me a couple minutes to get out because they had to pry the wing up so I could get out. And then we'll go back to Lakeport. I've climbed the fence. I've hit the fence. I've done so many ungodly things to that ball down the back straightaway at that racetrack. But climbing the fence, I have no idea how I did that. The wall was kind of like sloped, and I slid up, and I went up like this, and I like tornadoed around. And I kept going after I got a push because it locked everything up when everything hit, and then it kept spinning, and then it shocked itself when it got back on the ground. And I kept going. I've won that race. So we're going to get into some accomplishments I've done outside of the race car that involve racing. And first, we're going to start out with the 2018 sponsor for the NPSA, Nevada Pro Stock Association. My dad actually raced in this. It says a special thanks to BRM Motorsports, which is Brent Rauscher. This is a big accomplishment in my career outside of the driver's seat. I know it doesn't look like much. I know it's just a plaque, but to me it's a big achievement in my career. That one little step might be the way I get into sprint car racing and make it a living, or I don't. So this one plaque could be. We're going to move on to my opportunity outside of a race car on top of a flag stand. So this is me in this green tank top throwing my hands up at my dad. I've been on 4, 5, 6 different flag stands, I think, with Kenny Newberry. It was a great opportunity. Now that I understand it more, I understand what the points of the flag mean, especially now that I'm a racer. It makes a whole much more sense now that I understand everything. So yeah, that was one of my opportunities in my career, to be out of the driver's seat but also still be involved in racing. I hope you guys liked this episode of Rauscher Racing Weekly. If you did, go follow their Instagram, Brent Rauscher Motorsports Instagram and Facebook. Go subscribe to Brent Rauscher Motorsports. Turn on post notifications and do the same here. Deuces.
Welcome back to Mom's Corner. I'm Kim.
And I'm Samantha Rauscher.
So I guess we're going to talk this week about Brent's Karma boxes. I think that they've been collecting now for his Karma box for a couple of weeks now over at Christensen Automotive. Can you tell us how that's going?
Yeah, so we've been collecting over there and kind of at other sites. We have multiple jackets, socks, just kind of stuff to give back. It was something just to kind of fill the off weekend and to give back into our community. Mm-hmm. In this week, you guys saw a little bit of Brent's history and where he's been. I feel like Brent's been on a lot of tracks, only 3 states, but a lot of tracks in his time. I can kind of remember, looking back, I thought, well, you're fine to go racing, but he would fall asleep sometimes on pre-grid at 4 and 5, and yeah. It was like, well, it's 11 o'clock at night. Your 4-year-old should be in bed, maybe. So it was just kind of those things.
Oh, yeah, everybody's always said, oh, you let your kids stay up that late? Well, that's normal.
Yeah, for us it is normal, and it kind of makes them a little bit backwards times, and then Sunday we're sleeping and cranky and washing cars, but that's the life. I kind of always joke that Brent has broke his wrist and a part of his hand, neither time in a race car. One time he was just jumping around on the couch, next time he was out on a quad. So I guess we're waiting for that day to come. It'll happen, I'm sure.
I'm lucky. We haven't had any broken bones, so I'm thankful. Yeah. We've gotten lucky there.
So that's Brent. I mean, he talked to you mostly about box stock, a beginner box. He didn't talk about too much about his 250. He talked about his Lakeport Championship. So when we went to Lakeport, it was our first time winter racing, and we really were like, oh, well, that looks great. Let's just keep winter racing. We'll just race year round. Neither did I know that meant every weekend for the rest of my life. But here we are.
Again, we didn't sign up for that.
So we went winter racing the first time. He won a championship, and it was like, oh, I guess we're going to go winter racing from here on out. He shortly after got a 250. He was 8 years old when he went 250 racing. We went to Stockton, Delta Raceway for the first time, just for him to feel it out, shake it out, see. And Stockton's a very big racetrack, so we felt like it gave him some space to make mistakes and learn the clutch. You can't learn the clutch in the backyard, so that's what we did.
Or on the street, they always kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. We have some huge updates coming from Rauscher Racing. Evan promised you guys some updates and highlights of his new scheme. Things are moving along for 2021 and the summer Cycle Land season. I do think that they will be making some Red Bluff appearances, but we're really getting ready for that summer season now and kind of dotting all the I's and T's.
Yes,
right?
yes. They are going to do a few races. We're not going to race every single race when we come back, but we like to prep the boys for West Coast Nationals in March. So we like to have them at least hit the track a couple of times. That way they're a little more comfortable when we go to that big race. So yeah, we will make some appearances.
Yeah, and West Coast Nationals, we'll be there 3 days then.
Yes.
Back at Red Bluff, 3 days. All 3 boys will be there. It'll be back to that high car count, big event, big West Coast event, and it is kind of the closing to all winter racing before we go summer racing.
Yeah, I think we have a week off, and then we have, typically, we don't know, we don't
We're
have
hoping.
the schedule yet. We usually have a week off, and then I think they have a practice day at Cycle Land, and then a couple weeks after that, we are hitting it full steam ahead, so.
Steam, yep, and so all 3 will be running a summer season.
Yes, all
so
3 of them are.
We're excited to start planning that out and doing those things, continuing to travel. Last year you guys saw us go through the fires and just some shutdowns of COVID and things like that. So we documented that. We'll continue to do that. You'll see on season 2, we're just changing some of the camera angles and some of what we're bringing you guys each week.
Yeah, getting you guys closer in, a more homey feel and not so much of a staged feel. Yeah. Bringing you into our area and the racing feel.
Yeah. So stay tuned every Wednesday at 10 a.m. We're also on Brent Rauscher Motorsports Facebook, Rauscher Racing Facebook, and the boys have Rauscher Racing Weekly on Instagram. Thanks.